Welcome to Friday Wealth Coffee Chat, ladies and gents. Friday the 4th of June. Looks like a wonderful day out there where I am. Hopefully wherever you are, it's wonderful and you're well. Shout out to our Victorian compadres. Hang in there, gang. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. While everything is warming up and people are jumping on, as always, I'll do the quick intros. Welcome back to those who are coming back for the umpteenth time, the repeat attendees. Good to see everyone. Someone like Alison. Great to see you, Alison, as always. Thanks for joining us. And there's always one or two regulars on the show, Wealth Coffee Chats. And for those who might be joining, us in as a newbie, welcome also. I think I know who that is. That's Brad. Hey, Brad. You guys should be pretty happy right now. So I think you guys are having a great time on your holiday too. I've been seeing a few of those photos. Looks amazing. And so well done all round. Good job. Hey, good morning, Edmund, and good morning, Glenn. Good to see you guys on as well. So while everything's warming up, great to see you. Like I said, for the newbies, anyone who's stumbling across this or getting introduced to it for the first time, Wealth Coffee Chats. Jason Whitten is my name. Been property investing over 20 years, helping property investors across Australia and New Zealand buy properties, build their property portfolios, go the distance. As we all know, as you should know, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you my opinion, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. There you go. This thing is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, it takes focus, it takes some patience to go the distance in building a property portfolio. And I'm a big fan of the idea of buy well, never sell as a property investor. We're not into trading. We're not, if you want to buy and sell, that's not property investing. That could be property developing. I think that's gambling. I think that's a completely different kettle of fish. It's not what I do. It's not what we do at Positive. And we help our clients understand the longer you own a good piece of real estate, the better it becomes. And there are some places and spaces where, that sometimes, unfortunately, wrong location, wrong spot is the opposite. And over the years, we've learned some lessons, some harsh ones, and hopefully I can share them with you in these Wealth Coffee Chats so you can manage to minimize or avoid, some of those lessons. Oh, that's a bit of a bugger, Brad. Well, Donna looks like she's having a great time anyway, mate. So there you go. Thanks for putting in the hard work wherever you are. So, who made $112,000 this in the last month just gone, or 40,000 actually since February, or 40,000 in May? And an article came out yesterday. Core Logic released that real estate, houses, and the marketplace in Sydney had risen extremely sharply, 3% in the month of May. The fastest, the biggest growth in 1 month recorded for 30 years. And so, everyone's like, yoo-hoo, you beauty, money, money, money. I've got some growth. We're living the dream. Well, maybe not. But everyone's a bit excited about this. And rightly so. It's nice to have that happen to our portfolios. And it doesn't happen often, gang. And today I want to talk to you about if this is happening to you. And most of us around Australia now are getting some capital growth. And for the first time in many years, 2017, 18, 19, the marketplace was compressed, a little bit depressed because of the lending restrictions from APRA. I've talked about this plenty of times. And now we're getting a bit of an uplift. And for all of us, we need to know this is not going to last forever. It's not going to go on forever. And sometimes there's some weird things that happen at the end of cycles. And I want you to know how to make a good decision now and get your finger out now to do something called the equity lock. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that today quickly, because right now it's super important. I've talked about this before. Let's see if we can get another color. We'll get ourselves on the orange. No, you won't be able to see that actually. Let's just do it on the blue. All right, equity lock. Equity lock for those who are experiencing capital growth right now. So let's say this part here, okay, for some of us was 2017, 2018, 2019. We had a decrease in the marketplace, approximately around about 10%, okay? Now, it doesn't mean your property devalued. It doesn't mean any of that. We've talked about this before. You know, some years and months your property is more value. Some years and months your property is less value. Don't get caught up with that. The valuations are a real mind game when it comes to, depending on who you ask. And I've done this one before. If you ask a valuer, they're looking backwards. If you ask a real estate agent, they're looking at it right now. And you need to look into the future. And they often are three different values compared to what you're trying to do. But gang, here's the drill right now. Let's say this is where we are, and we've had an increase in our property's value, and let's call it $100,000, okay? Call it 100K. Now, it's important to understand that that's great and all, but you don't have access to that money right now, okay? It's there. Technically, it's on paper. Technically, let's face it, really, it doesn't really exist in any tangible form for you to use until you do in real estate one of two things. You sell the property and end up with the cash, and don't do that. Or you do an equity lock, okay? An equity lock, and this is part of today. This is what we all should be doing right now with our real estate. Morning, Alina. Morning, James. Morning, Yasmin. This, Margaret, how are you? Oh, there it is, Graham. We need to be doing it right now to make sure we get the value locked in for our loans, okay? Now, I'm going to use, at this point, I'm going to use just an 80% loan to value ratio. So let's say your loans, your loan to value ratio was tracking along like this, okay? And let's say your loan was interest only. I'm not doing principal and interest and making it sort of the gap wider. So as our loan value, our loans tracks along and the value goes up, now we've got this gap, yeah? Okay? Now, that value, now this used to be 80%, over here, sorry. This used to be 80%. And as it tracked down, that went to 90% loan to value ratio. And now over here, this loan to value ratio is 60%, okay? What we've got to do as property investors right now, and also as this every sort of 3 to 6 months we need to check in on this, we need to now go to our bank, our lenders, and we say, I want to reset my loan. I want to increase my loan from here to there. And let's call that an extra $100,000. And now my loan is like that, reset back at 80% or 90% or whatever it might be. And now you have access to some funds. It's often called liquidity. The real estate's liquidity, meaning access to capital and money, can be far superior if you're able to borrow when it comes to owning those assets compared to the share market, because you can refinance that equity out and go again, What can you do with it, gang? What can you do with it? You can buy another property. You could renovate your properties if you were in that stage of your portfolio, etc., etc. You could use equity arbitrage. So there's a few things you could do, all right? I like all of them depending on where you're at. Number one, keep going with your acquisitions, times one more property. Number two, reno or add value to your real estate because, a little bit off screen there, okay. Roll this over, there we go. Aha! You could renovate or add value to your portfolio, or number three, you could do equity arbitrage. And we've talked about equity arbitrage before, taking the money out now. You might get that money unlocked at 3% and you might invest it in something that makes you 15%, okay? Now that's kind of fun. That's kind of good stuff as you go. So, gang, don't miss the subtlety of this, because what happens, I've seen this so many times. Marketplace goes up and everyone's like, wow, this is amazing. I'll get around to it, because refinancing or increasing your accessible equity takes time, and it's, you know, paperwork, and it's annoying, and and it's an effort. And I see it, I just see it so many times, gang. You know, you've got equity there. Let's turn it into real accessible cash. What happens is you don't. The market changes a bit. Something else happens. Things slow down. APRA changes its rules when it comes to you having access to lending, and now you can't borrow, etc., etc., etc. Gang, borrow money when actually you don't need it. That's one of my golden rules when it comes to locking in your equity. Hopefully that made sense, gang. Hopefully that made sense, because don't miss this opportunity. It looks like most of us have got the opportunity to lock in some equity, do something more with our portfolio. So reach out to your professional team, your professional finance team, to make sure that can be the case and you can continue to move forward as a property investor. Or at least, even if you're not buying anything, you've still got access to money when you need it into the future, okay? So I like that as we go. So there you go. Mark asked a quick question. And Mark said, put a deposit for a house down in Sydney, first home, last July, newly built. Bank valuation 660, land registered, title to bill, this is the real price. Well, Mark, that's a great question. It's the value that the bank is willing to lend against, okay? Now, what the real price is kind of like how long is a piece of string, Mark? On any given day, if you put that up for sale, someone might even pay $700,000 because the market is a little bit desperate at the moment and they're like willing to pay more. On any given day, you might send out 3 different valuers and they might give you 3 different valuations. We see this all the time. We're settling some properties up in Brisbane at the moment. On exactly the same day, 3 different apartments, but they're the same design, 3 different valuers, valuations ranging $50,000 to $60,000 difference for no reason at all other than opinion, okay? Is that the real price? Nobody knows, Mark, but what the better question is, can I lend against $660,000 compared to $554,000? And if the answer is yes, awesome. Means you have to put less money in, less cash out of your pocket, and you've created some equity and value. So you're in a good posse, you're in a good spot, mate. So well done. You took some action and the market is rewarding you. Make sure as you go to settle that now and complete the construction, that you lock in the right access to your money with the right lending. Okay, mate? So give us a shout out. Hit us up in the chat if you need anything else, Mark. But hopefully that answers your question. It's good. It's fine. Absolutely, it is correct for the bank to lend you money. And that is at the end of the day, probably the most important number that you're ever going to have, other than if you're going to sell it. Often people will pay more because they're keen for something that you've got. All right, gang, that's it. I'm done. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Cheers, whatever that is. Hopefully that made sense today. Lock your equity in and don't let it get away. All right, that's it. I'm done. Have a great weekend, gang. Friday chat over and out. Hey, listen, quick shout out before you go, before you disappear. Tonight, Andy Fenton and myself, Wealth, Wine and Wisdom at 5 p.m. Jump on and join us. There's lots to talk about. Yep, Wealth, Wine and Wisdom tonight. Absolutely, Alison. It's on. I've been away last week, so we didn't do it, obviously. But this week, we're back at it. And plenty on the menu to go through this evening. And don't miss it. Andy and I will be chewing the fat, drinking the wine, and sharing the wisdom. All right, that's it, gang. Done. I better go. I'm sure you guys got something to do. Have an awesome weekend, and Friday Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. All right, gang. Bye-bye.